You know, a lot of times we just want to sit down, plug in our guitar, and just start jamming. But what often happens is we just kind of end up aimlessly noodling. Now, I'm not against noodling because noodling is fun, and if you can't have fun playing guitar, then why are you playing guitar? I'm going to share one simple method with you that's going to make your noodling much more effective and impactful, and it's actually going to help you get better and play in key. And I'll explain what I mean as we get deeper into this. So yeah, we might come up with some cool, some cool licks. Or you might be practicing just a specific technique. Maybe it's not so much noodling, but you've got a couple of little runs that you might practice, like let's say speed picking, for example. Before we get into this, so a quick tip on playing super fast like speed picking. A lot of times you can count the notes in threes, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like something like this. And oftentimes you'll be repeating different patterns like that too. That's just a simplified way to look at that. Any case, so what I want you to try doing though is instead of just going into a technique or just going into playing, whatever random licks that you're coming up with, try playing a power chord first. So let's just keep this simple. Let's just play, I'm in standard tuning by the way, let's play just an E power chord. I'll let that ring out for a little bit, then I'll play a lick that sort of goes with the power chord. Playing a power chord first does a couple of things for you. First of all, it sort of helps with the timing a little bit. It's not perfect and it doesn't have to be perfect, but you sort of get this little rhythm and cadence going in between the power chord and the little licks you're playing. Now, there are no rules to this. Let me make that clear. I'm not counting off 1, 2, 3, 4, then playing a lick, 1, 2, 3. I'm not doing any of that. Not to say that wouldn't be a bad thing, but of course I can't count and play at the same time, so we're scratching that. In any case though, because you're playing this power chord and you're holding it out for however long you're holding it out for. Okay, timing was probably not perfect there, doesn't have to be, but it does help you kind of develop a little rhythmic pattern along the way as you go back and forth doing that. The other thing this does is it kind of keeps you in the key. Now, of course, we could be playing in E minor or E major, and I'll explain that. I'm going to give you a super easy way to play in key. And if you're not familiar with playing with chord progressions or in key, what I'm going to share with you in a second is going to be mind-blowing. You're going to be like, Jason, I had no idea it was that stupidly easy, because it is, and I'll share that with you. But go back and forth between the chord and a lick. So just play the power chord, then make up a lick. It doesn't have to be overly complicated either, okay? You can just do something like... Another benefit to this is as you go through this back and forth between the power chord and whatever lick you're making up, it could be anything, doesn't matter, but you're also going to start hearing things. Not like those voices or the ghost or whatever, but maybe it's them too. But you're going to start hearing melodies in your head, right? Now, That was a little melody. We just came up with that. None of this was pre-planned, by the way. I'm just kind of like, you and I are sitting down together in the studio here, hanging out. We're having a cup of coffee or a brew. I think I'm just drinking green tea right now. But we're just jamming together, just coming up with some cool stuff. So eliminate any type of perceived rules because they're gone, okay? And eliminate any type of perfection or any false sense of perfection, because that's exactly what that is. So just get rid of all the junk in your head, and it's just, we're just sitting down jamming right now, okay? You're just exploring, and this is what I want you to do. You're exploring the fretboard, but you're also exploring what's in your head, allowing yourself to hear certain things, and even, I'll say, allowing what's in your heart to flow out onto the fretboard. Now, if you are wanting to practice technique, get better at certain things, we talked about alternate picking, the speed picking, you can certainly incorporate that in. So yeah, just continue going back and forth in that. You're practicing the technique, but you'll also find yourself forming some melodies. So you start to build this melodic sense. And I don't really want to get into the shred versus melody type of thing, but a guitar solo, whether it's fast or slow, it's just that. It is a melody at the end of the day. And one important point I want to bring out before we extend this, because I'm going to show you one more thing, one more way to use this technique, this strategy. I don't even know what we're calling it. We'll call it something. But if you think about the guitar solos that resonate with you the most, it's probably more of the overall song than the guitar solo itself. Like, I can tell you, I have never just listened to a song to hear the guitar solo, because if I don't really care for the song, I'm not going to hang around for the guitar solo. So think about that when you're playing lead guitar. Now, one more thing I want to share with you. We're just extending on this technique. So instead of doing just the power chord, you can also play a simple chord progression. So let's come up with something. Pretty cool. So all I'm playing in this case, and you don't have to play this chord progression, it doesn't really matter. I'd much rather you come up with your own, but if you want to play this, that's fine. So we're in the key of E minor. Again, I'll explain the keys in a second. I've got a real quick tip on that if you're not familiar with playing in key and like, well, I don't know where to play in key. I'm going to share something very powerful in a second, but I'm just playing an E power chord in the key of E minor, E power chord, B power chord, C and D. No, that was just pure melody that came out. I didn't do anything fast, and not that you can or can't do whatever you want, but that was just a melody that really fit that rhythm quite well. And because I developed a sense of that melody as I was playing the rhythm. So this is the power between just playing a chord and going back and forth between licks, which is great, but this is just an extension of that. Maybe play a series of chords, of progression. So let's try something else with that. Okay, and we start going off the beaten path. Now, one thing I want to tell you, and this is super important, do not, absolutely do not beat yourself up if you play something that just doesn't sound right, or if you start getting frustrated at yourself. Don't allow yourself to get frustrated at yourself. That might mean just kind of simplifying things, kind of keeping things basic and gradually expanding out. But remember, you're not on stage. You're not recording anything that's going to be out there forever, right? You are building your skill set, not just playing a technique, not just getting faster. Your goal might not even be to play fast, and that's perfectly okay. You're going to build a sense of melody within your guitar solos so that your guitar solo can speak. It's not just a bunch of notes, jumbled together, but you're actually saying something with your guitar solo. And to me, that's what a guitar solo is all about. That's why, to this day, Joe Satriani, he's still my favorite guitar player. I get it, he might not shred up and down the neck. I mean, he can do all the fancy stuff. He's done them plenty of times, but he'll just like sneak stuff in here and there. But his main thing is just that beautiful melody. Let's talk about playing in key. I'm going to share something real quick with you. Here's the E minor scale, or this is a version of it because you can play this in multiple places. I'll show you how easy that is, and I'll show you why we're doing this. This is not about learning scales. Trust me. The last thing you want your solo to sound like is you're playing a scale for a solo, or you're practicing a scale. That would be quite boring, but I'll share why this is magic. So here's your scale. Okay, couple things I want you to notice, but first of all, let's go through the notes real quick. So I'm playing this on the A string, starting on the 7th fret. I'm not going to put tabs up for this. This is pretty simple stuff. Actually, I have tabs for this in Metal Riffs and Licks, my free practice guide. It is the most ultimate free metal guitar practice guide that you'll ever get. I just upgraded it, so I go a little bit deeper into this stuff in that free guide. So if you don't have it, there is a link in the description. Click on that after this video. But for this, we're going 7, 9, 10 on the A string, D string 7, 9, 10, G string 7, 9. That's your scale. Two things I want you to notice about this. Number one, you start and end on the same note. That last note is just an octave higher. That's it. So that's the first thing that I want you to know about the minor scale. The second thing is you'll notice between most notes, it's a whole step. In guitar terms, we're skipping a fret, right? Except between the 2nd and 3rd notes and the 5th and 6th notes. So we go 1, 2, 3. Right there, we did not skip a fret. We went a half step here instead of a whole step. Then note 4, 5, 6. Same thing, 5 and 6. We didn't do a whole step, we did a half step. We're not skipping a fret. Lastly, 7 and 8. Now, 3 things I want you to know about that little thing that we just did there, the E minor scale. All of those notes fit within the key of E minor, okay? So the second thing I want you to know about this is that you can play that scale again where you ended. Remember, we start and end on the same note. So I can start here and just apply that same formula. We go a half step between the 2nd and 3rd notes and the 5th and 6th notes. Again, I don't want you to just play the scales, right? I want you to be able to play this. Now we just did something simple there, but all of those notes that I played were within what we just learned. Now, you don't have to stick to this. This is not a rule, but what it does is gives you that safe zone is what I call it. Okay, I know where these notes are within the key of E minor, and you just continue that. You continue exploring those and piecing those together. Then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, if somebody's playing in the key of E minor, I've got it. I know it. Now, the other thing I want to mention about the minor scale, this happens for the major scale too. We're not going to go over that. I do go over all that in the free guide, Metal Riffs and Licks, so you have to get a copy of that if you don't have it yet. In any case, though, you can apply that to any note. You might say, Jason, well, what if the song's in like something I don't ever play in, like F sharp minor? Well, the same thing. Where's our F sharp minor note start? Apply the same pattern. again, I go over all that in Metal Riffs and Licks. Now, if you already have Metal Riffs and Licks, if you don't, please get a copy of that. But if you have that already and these types of videos and my teaching style helps you, you've got something out of it, do consider joining my Guitar Academy, the Jason Stallworth Guitar Academy, because Lead Guitar Apprentice, that course within the Academy, it's one of the many courses you get, plus all my lessons, that goes into this even in more depth, okay, for playing lead guitar. Get Metal Riffs and Licks first. Watch a few videos if you've never seen my channel or my teaching style before. And that's not reverse psychology, but I want you to make sure it's for you before you just dive in and pay for something. I don't want you paying to get into my academy if my style is not for you. Because if it's not for you, that's okay. I'm okay with that. So are you. So again, get the free stuff first. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope that it helps you with your lead playing. Practice this, you know, go back and forth between the chords, come up with like a little progression and just do some stuff in the interim, play in a different key, right? If you're not familiar with playing in certain keys, you can apply that minor chord strategy. Again, Metal Riffs and Licks, I go a bit deeper into that, into, you know, the major and the minors there, so that you can play in key, really play in any key. So that's the cool thing about that. I do plan to do some more videos on this stuff, get a little bit more in depth in certain areas of it. So let me know what you would like for me to put out there for you on YouTube here that's related to this stuff, and I'm happy to do that. Guys, thanks for watching. Again, I really hope this helped. As always, keep it metal and keep playing music.